All right, so I think we're yeah, we can go ahead and get started. It's about 7:35 right now is what I have. If you're here from before, welcome back. If you're new as of right now, welcome. This part of the Teaching Tuesdays is for the residential side. This is brought to you by the Virtual REI Academy, which is something that people had come to us after really enjoying the multifamily side and basically said, hey, could you guys do kind of the same thing for single family? And so we ended up doing with something a little bit different. We got about 15 different instructors that are full-time, very, very successful in their specific strategy, and put them all together in what we call the Virtual REI Academy. And they've got about, I think it's almost 50 courses, maybe a little bit more, on different strategies. It's not just rehabbing and it's not just wholesaling. There's a ton of other strategies available. So we put those together and had great success with it. People seem to really like it. And then we decided to start Teaching Tuesdays for residential for a couple of reasons. One was just like the other one, to kind of give back, and at the same time to be able to promote the REI Academy, and hopefully we can help more people across the country be successful, not just in multifamily, but in single family. And our partners, Jane and Sharon, were unavailable today. They usually run this part of the call, but Nicheole was nice enough to step in for them because they weren't able to be here. And so she is going to talk about turnkey investing, which we actually have a couple of courses in the academy actually about that, and I'll show those to you guys at the end. But Nicheole, it's all yours. I think you're sharing your.
Can you see my screen?
I can see your folders, and then to the right of it is the PowerPoint, but it's not open.
It's open for me. Then let me stop sharing
Okay.
and see if I can come back. Can you see it now?
Oh, yep. See it. Perfect.
All right, let me kind of get the slideshow up. Now, can you see the slideshow?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So with this set up pretty much like the Reach, which is our multifamily. If you look down there at the bottom, there's the website virtualreiacademy.com. You can email us at support, and that's our YouTube channel. And like with the multifamily, this this webinar will be up by the end of the week on our virtual real estate academy on that YouTube channel. And there's a playlist there as well. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to talk about turnkey investing. Now, I'm going to talk for 20 minutes, half an hour. There's a whole lot more to this, so I'm going to kind of hit some of the highlights of this. This is something that a couple of my partners and I still do over in the residential space. So we still have a couple of companies that buy single family houses. And my partner on this one is down in Southern West Virginia. Her name is Miranda, and we've been partners close to 20 years now. I can't believe it. I'm getting old. So what is turnkey investing? So there are, these are strategies where we're generally playing, you can invest as a turnkey investor, or you can get properties and get other people to invest. And I'm going to talk about the latter pretty much. So there's several ways we do this. We're typically either going to buy or control a property, and these are residential properties. We're going to place a tenant in the home, and they're going to start paying rent on that. We are going to manage the property, and then we are going to sell the property to a third party who generally lives at a distance. A lot of times these are actually foreign investors who are looking to get into the US markets. don't have to spend a lot of money, and they are away and we're managing it this. So at the heart of this strategy, you're renting a property to a paying tenant and then managing the property for an owner who lives at a distance. Okay. You're getting something paid up front when you find the property. You're getting a little bit every month for managing it. And on the back end, the end buyer cashes you out sometimes. Sometimes they don't, and you get the property back. Now, a lot of times what we do, rather than, so you can also find a property for them if you are a realtor or something, and let them buy the property and you're helping them along the way. A lot of times we are going to buy it or control it, and we're going to sell it on owner financing to this foreign investor. So we also get paid a little bit every month because they're paying us a mortgage payment, basically. The benefit to them is that they're getting in very light, and so their cash on cash return is pretty good. And they typically you're going to see 20% return on your money if people get in light or better. And that's quite appealing to a lot of people. So here are some of the methods we use to buy. We can take one of our renters, one of our existing rentals, sell it on a turnkey, and then manage it. In this kind of thing, typically what we are doing is this is a good thing for auction strategies, eBay, and other kinds of things where you can actually auction off the property, but instead of the property, we're actually auctioning the down payment. So we can either do this where people are bidding up how much they're going to pay on the down payment, or we can ask for a basic down payment. We want it to be significant enough that it will get rid of a lot of our costs that we have sunk in this. So if I'm taking control of a property and I'm having to do some fix-ups on it to make it so it's rent ready, I'm having to put a tenant in it, and the tenant's having to make regular payments, because I don't want to give this kind of a property to a buyer who's trusting us with their money, that isn't got a reasonable renter in it. So a lot of times I'm holding this for 6 months, sometimes up to a year. And so I would like to recoup a lot of the money that I have put in it back as much as I can with a down payment. A lot of times I'm not getting all of the down payment back, but I'm getting a significant amount of it, which goes then to, so I can find some more. I'm going to buy a property, the second method, and take over the payments. I can then wholesale that contract to an investor and then manage the property. If I'm going to do this, I want it to be a fairly not a new investor, so that they have a tendency to know what they're getting into, and that they are going to take care of the renter. So and then they are going to make payments. So if we're taking over the payments from somebody and we are then selling that contract to an investor, that investor has to be able to make the payments to the bank or whatever the requirements are to maintain control. because what we don't want to do is put the initial seller in a bad situation. So I'm always got my fingers in some of these deals to a certain extent so that we don't have something bad happening to the original seller, something bad happening to the person who's buying it from us. So I want to be ethical and above board and try and make sure that this goes well for people. Does it always go well? Most of the time, but there's always something that can go wrong, and we have had a couple of them that have gone wrong, and you just have to do the best you can. We can also sell the house that you own or control on owner financing or a purchase option to the investor and then manage it for them. We act as the middleman, this is the other way, to help someone buy a good deal through a realtor or another seller, help the buyer close, get it rent ready, find a tenant, and manage the property. And we're going to get a fee for doing all of that, right? For being kind of the person that's kind of the boots on the ground there for them. So those are kind of some of the methods we use to buy and or control some of these properties that then we are going to find somebody who wants to own this. When do we use this strategy? So the reason this first one is in red is because this is a absolutely essential. It won't work if you don't have this. You have to have a good property management company. Either one you own or that you have worked with for a long time, because what's common in all of these is that you're continuing to manage the property. You're finding a renter and then you're managing the property. You're basically telling the person who's buying from you that you're going to buy the house and find your tenants, manage the property, and the tenants pay the bills, and then we send them a monthly or quarterly check, right? So you're also doing the books, and you're going to have to, so we have two companies that I do with Miranda that hold single family houses. Because we have some of these type of properties in both companies, we have to make sure the books we keep are property by property. So we have a QuickBooks report on each house, and then we roll it up to the company level, because you have to be able to provide the buyer that you're managing for information on their property. You have to provide them financials. And so you have to have somebody, a pretty good bookkeeper, who can do this. You have to be able to have systems in place where you can send them their money. So I just told you that we do this in West Virginia, and my partner down there owns, if not the biggest property management company. Well, she does own the biggest property management company in the area, and one of the biggest ones in West Virginia. So she's been managing properties for 20 years and is really excellent in this. When we do this, we have to have some extra cash to buy something else or invest in something else. So we don't want to buy this house or have, so let me kind of rephrase that. We use this when we need some extra cash, when we want to diversify a little bit, where we want to have something that where the people that we have sold it to are a little bit more likely to pay the mortgage. So renters sometimes can be a bit, you can't always collect rents. So we use this probably, I'm guessing 10, 15% of our portfolio in the single family companies has this strategy in use. I hope that made sense. And some of the benefits, we've already talked about some of these. You can receive extra cash from a down payment to buy something else, to pay bills, to reimburse you for money you've already spent. You, if you are the person who is already in control of this property, then not only are you getting a management fee and either a down payment or a fee for kind of putting the deal together, but you're also getting a mortgage payment. You can do it to have somebody else take over some of the risks. So you, because they own it, if for some reason it goes vacant or something happens where it needs some repairs, you don't have all of the risk. Some of that risk is on the person who's bought it from you. But again, we're going to try and make sure that we don't sell something where we have a lot of known risks, because we don't want to take advantage of people. You also, it's a good way to start building relationships with some people who have some money and want to begin to invest. These people can become lenders or partners in other endeavors and have been in the past. So who are your buyers? They're typically people who have some money and want to place it in safe investments. Now these are not the high, a lot of are not the high net worth people who are going to invest in these big multifamily syndications. They're people who have 10, 20, $30,000 that they would like to invest and make a return on. I already told you a lot of them come from other countries and are looking for investments in the US. They can be from around the area where you're buying, and they have some money and they are looking to get into a property without a lot of money down. And a lot of them, they just don't want to manage. So there's a lot of I just don't want to be a landlord crowd who have maybe tried to buy one or two houses and stopped because they didn't like being a landlord. They didn't like the tenants and trash and toilets. And so they got out of it. But this is a way where they can still own and have the property managed by somebody else. And so the buyers are frequently investors who don't want to or can't manage properties. Okay, so this is kind of trying to put this into some kind of a picture. And so we are kind of in the middle here where you're bringing, can you see my cursor, James? James, you're on mute.
Sorry, kids at the front door. Yes, I can see your cursor.
Okay, so we are bringing the two together. Someone who needs to sell. This can also be us who already owns the property, but a lot of times we're finding properties where somebody needs to sell, and for whatever reason, we may not have the capital in the accounts to take advantage of a good deal. So we'll buy it, get it straightened out, but with the plan that we're going to turnkey it. And then on the other side, we have buyers who want to buy. They have a little money to invest, and we're putting it together. We're kind of playing the middleman where we know what the strategy is, we know how to use it. And then we're making some money. So are these people, and these people are getting out of a headache. again, for this to work, you really have to have somebody who is good at property management. And if anybody is interested in something like this, whoops, I would say you can give us a call. That's Miranda's number. And you can call her at or email her at that's supposed to be, that hashtag is not supposed to be there. It's mbolin@christianmanagementcorp.com. I don't know what happened there, but that hashtag doesn't belong. So that's kind of really what I want to talk about in the class, in from the class that's in the Virtual Real Estate Academy. There is a whole lot more detail. This is kind of an overview, and we're just going back to these every Tuesday at 7:30. We're talking about a different thing. I agreed to do this for Sharon and Jane because they are out trick-or-treating or something. So they are unavailable today. So I would, I'm going to turn this back over to James. He's going to show you. I'm going to quit sharing this time without having to be told. And I'm going to let you kind of talk a little bit, and then we'll take some questions.
Sure. So, all right. So let me share my screen. And all right, so these are the amazing well, it's Sharon here on the left and Jane here. They actually were gonna fly up to visit us, and then some stuff happened. We had to cancel a couple things. And then they had booked actually a concert with Sharon's mother to go to tonight. And so they asked, hey, you know, can we kind of can you help us out, basically? And Nicheole was gracious enough, as she always is, to go ahead and help out. So this is the actual website. It's virtual reiacademy.com. This is kind of what it looks like from the outside. I keep having to move this stuff around here. Let's see. And then in terms of turnkey investments, when you actually look at, sorry, I should have done this part here first. Let me go here. Sorry about that. All right, so all courses. So when you look at all courses, there's a ton of them in there, and they're actually broken down into a couple of different sections. So you've got some basics, and then you've got wholesale rehab, the standard stuff, common strategies, and then as you get along a little bit further, I believe here it is. All right, so under more advanced, right, there's a bunch of different modules in here. Nicheole actually did this one on turnkey investing. And then when you actually click on that and you get inside, then there's a little description of it. And then there's, this one has 6 modules, and I want to guess and say they're anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes a piece. And then within each module, you have the video, audio, docs accompanying documents and stuff like that, and the transcripts as well. So there's a lot of information on there. Obviously not as much, well, this first one's already 20 minutes, so 20 times 6, so that's a lot longer than the Teaching Tuesdays we just did, but hopefully Nicheole was able to educate you a little bit and you got some value out of it. And then the actual big part of it is at the Academy, so I will stop sharing. And then anybody have any questions for Nicheole? It can be about turnkey investing. It can be about basically anything you want, real estate related. Whether multifamily or single family, obviously the single family part, so those are, you know, take precedence. But and if you want to just unmute, we've got a small enough group that we can go ahead and do that. So feel free to ask any questions you want.
Has anybody else ever tried turnkey investing?
I'm considering it mainly because a couple of investor friends have come to me about, hey, I'm busy, a professional, I don't have time, but I like the products that you're buying, Gene, which is basically row homes in Baltimore County. So I'm considering doing that because a lot of these homes don't fit my criteria, but it'll be great for a turnkey person who's willing to put 20% down. My reservation is managing it. I mean, you guys could be friends, but then maybe when you start getting into managing for people, they might end up being nightmares. So maybe preserving that friendship. And then the second part of it is the fact that at least for the deals that I find that are really good for me, or I would want to do, I'm conflicted on just wholesaling it because I'd rather just keep it.
Yeah, we do more. So when we say wholesale, we're wholesaling it to a turnkey investor.
Yes.
So that's one strategy. But you can also buy it and control it, take it over on a master lease, on a lease purchase, on something else, and then hand it off to your investor um, on a contract that has them owning it in whatever amount of time.
Mhm.
But it also allows them to get out. So you can give them clauses if things aren't going well. You can, in that kind of approach, rather than them having the deed, they can decide after, giving you 3 months notice or something that they want out, and you can step back in so that you
Mhm.
preserve the friendships. And then you turn around and do it again. A lot of times when people want out, something's gone wrong, right? And so you may have to fix something, but um, but that's a possible way of doing it without risking friendships.
Roger that. Thank you.
So this is Adam. I'm wondering, what is a certificate of compliance for a house?
Can you say a little more? What do you mean compliance for a house?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. So I'm looking, my interest is in a property in Ithaca, New York, near Cornell University. Basically, my daughter lives up there with her significant other, and he teaches at the university. And they just moved up there last year. They're renting right now, and they're kind of talking about getting an apartment or something. Well, when I look in Zillow, I'm planning to go look at your website about finding properties, but so far I've just used like Zillow to go look what's around over there, and there's no apartments. There's no condominiums. It's all houses and multifamily. Um, but anyway, I came across this one particular house that's like $250,000. All the other houses in the area are 300, 400, 500 and up. And this is like pretty much in the city itself. And this thing is up for sale for 250. It's a 5-bedroom, 2,264 square foot house. I'm going like, whoa. And it's also multi-family. It's apparently two bedroom and a 3-bedroom apartment. And I'm going, so this sounds really wonderful, even if it needs a little bit of fixing up. The pictures look nice. And then it says, this property is being sold as is without a certificate of compliance. And I'm
Okay.
going, okay, so that's a big red flag.
It is. And so it is, you should be able to call the code inspectors in Ithaca and find out what that means. In every jurisdiction, it means something else. They're going to be able to tell you probably specifically what it is. But my suspicion is with that price, if the others are that much, and it's sold as is, that there is an issue with some of the systems, some of the bigger systems, or lead paint or oil tanks, a lot of oil tanks up in that neck of the woods. So, but my best bet would be to call the code inspectors in the area and ask them. And if they know anything about this property, and chances are pretty good they would. So
Okay.
But the other things to start looking at is to go buy a list, a vacant house list, and send some letters, or get your daughter or her husband to get in a car in some areas that they like and go driving for dollars. And all they're going to do is drive up and down streets and look for houses that are boarded up or have really high grass or look like they're vacant. And then you're going to go to the records, for the Ithaca area, for the land records, and find out who owns it and see if you can contact them. So right now there's a number of houses that are actually people need to sell all around the country. And either because they ran up the price so much, or they got another job. So there's something that it's a problem for them to actually get that property sold, and you can step in and take it over.
Okay. Okay. Like this is just kind of an initial exploration for me.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been doing good. Zillow
Well,
is, yeah, Zillow is Zillow. It has some deals, but not, sometimes not a lot. Although there are some for sale by owner things on Zillow, if you can find any of them.
okay. Okay. I was just wondering what to watch out for with that certificate, but checking with the local inspector sounds like a real good first step. So,
Yeah.
well, I think
There's,
my first step is to find out if my daughter wants to live there.
yeah, that's true too. That's probably the first thing to do.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good question. Others?
I have another question for you, actually. I've been hearing on the radio about all this vacant office space, and they were talking about the possibility of converting it. And the one thing that the guy had to say was that, well, you gotta pick and choose, because some office spaces are easier to convert into apartments or residential space than others, which makes a lot of sense. Where you put the bathrooms, where you put the kitchen, etc. But are you doing anything like that? Are you looking into anything like that? Because it seems like there's a cultural shift to telecommuting, and I'm hearing about all this empty office space. So,
Yeah, there is a lot of empty office and a lot of empty retail spaces. And both of those are potentials for redevelopment. There's also quite a number of vacant motel, hotel kinds of things along that are probably easier I mean, you'd have to do a fair amount of, cosmetic kinds of things, but the real issue with both office and retail is that it is really hard to get kind of the plumbing and heating and those kinds of things in. It can be very, very expensive. There's a lot of them aren't built so that there's bathrooms in every apartment or whatever, things like that. So, I would suspect small office space might be, kind of a better thing for conversion, but I don't know. I really don't know. Retail, a lot of the larger retail places would have bathrooms in some of the stores, and so it might prove to be a little bit easier. But there's been some writing recently where there's a assessment that the retail and office space may be off as much as 40% in value because of all the changes that it's going on in both of them. So, I mean, you could certainly should be able to pick them up cheap if you can. I think there's going to be a number of them going to auctions, but you have to really pay attention to what it's going to cost to reposition those properties. It's not going to be cheap, I don't think.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I don't see anything in the chat right now.
Well, if we don't have anything else, I don't see, have you got any topics that you'd like to hear us talk about over in the residential side? And then we can kind of set up some things and then I will kind of shut it down. But Adam, Jean, Tyler, Latoya, anybody got any topics you'd like us to talk about?
I'll put my email address in here as well. Oops. I'll put my email address in the chat as well. If you guys don't have something right now, if you could send something to us, something you'd like to learn about. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, one of the things I do notice, this is specifically for single families or any topic.
Any topic.
Any topic.
Okay. Top of mind right now is I'm running into a lot of wholesalers, even investors who do not know how to comp properties.
That's not new.
Yeah, exactly. So I think so much so like yeah, I'm gonna break down how to evaluate properties to some friends. So yeah, that would be great to, basically from I guess an appraiser point of view, how to.
Yeah, maybe you have some expertise in that, don't you, Jean?
Well, I was a realtor back in the day, but yeah. Uh
Yeah, I don't, so I can see if Jane and Sharon, but I was wondering if if you were talking about you being competent to do that and we can pull you in with Jane and Sharon, or you wanted us to find somebody else.
oh no, I actually meant it was when we were talking about topics. Like, yeah, if you wanted a topic to talk about, that I think that would help the community out a lot.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep, writing it down. Good idea.
Yeah.
You guys also have the video on here about an underwriting sheet. Wouldn't that help him?
So we have one for multifamily for underwriting. Do we have
There are
one?
a couple of sheets in the residential course, but I don't remember which ones that are sort of a bit of underwriting, but comps are different than underwriting. Comps to me are, how do you really look at what the property will be worth once it's fixed up, and there's as much art as science in that, and it's if you've not done it before, I mean, certainly present on it, but good comps, realtors spend a lot of time learning how to do good comps. And so I don't know. What would you add to that, Jean and James?
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Gene.
I was just gonna add to the chat. Yeah, multifamily is analyzed based on income based approach, and single family and condos are comparative. What is your comparable home selling for in the current market?
So I'm wondering if because we've always talked about, yes, always underwrite multifamily deals because it's all numbers. And I think one of the things that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that we had discussed in the past is why wouldn't you underwrite a single family home from an income perspective versus not getting into that much detail, having like an actual underwriting sheet like Dave used to have for all his rentals and stuff like that, where you would actually sit down and do the numbers.
I think it depends on if what you're planning on doing is if you're getting something under contract and wholesaling it to a rehabber, the
Right,
rehabber is more likely going to sell it retail.
right, okay,
So what you're saying is right on if you're going to keep it as a rental, right? But if your exit is going to be a retail sale, then you really need to know the comps. And then have an accurate ARV before you try and set up a wholesale deal. And I just think a lot of people who are going into wholesaling really don't know what they're doing. They just really don't know what they're doing. Either that or they get exuberant about what they think it could be worth and try and sell that. And that if you have relatively new investors, it can be a real problem.
okay. All right, those are good ideas, Gene. I wrote them down, and Nicheole and I will talk about them, see how we can bring somebody in to actually do the. I thought we were talking about bringing somebody in to do comps versus the woman that did it for us before. I can't remember her name.
Addie, yeah,
Addie, yeah. When we can
yeah.
have somebody else.
We probably need to. We have another realtor. We need another realtor, but comps I think are a separate topic in and of themselves.
Okay, okay.
So that may be an Alex.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, good.
Maybe we'll talk him into that. So
Right.
I see something here where multifamily income based. Yeah, you're right. Yep, yep. Good point. All right. If there are no more questions, then I really appreciate everybody being here. Do you know what they're talking about next time?
No, they're supposed to send me the subject. So hopefully when they get home late tonight or tomorrow, they'll send it to me and I'll send it out to everybody.
All righty. Yep.
All right,
And then
guys.
next week for the multifamily, we're going to be talking cost segregation, right?
Yep, absolutely. Which is
So how do
huge tax
you,
savings. Yep.
how do you save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars literally in taxes by doing a cost seg study? I actually think he was also going to do that for the single family, wasn't he? He was
Oh,
going to
you're
do
right.
a twofer.
You're absolutely right. He's going to do it for both. Correct. Because you can use it for single family as well.
Yep.
We'll talk about both. Yep.
All righty.
All right, everybody. Great seeing you.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy Halloween.
you.
Have a good night.
Happy
Good night.
Halloween.
Bye.
Hope there's some candy left.